Great to be here.
So tell us about the state of the Republican Party within Congress. We've had some issues with the speakership throughout the year, but now it seems like everybody's rallying around President Trump. What is the state of unity within the Republican Party?
It's gotten better. Look, whenever I ran for Congress, I'm just a freshman. I've been there a year and a half. You might say I'm the 535th most powerful member of Congress, right? But I ran being very frustrated with not only Congress, but the moments when the Republican Party would get power and would get control, and yet they seem to be feckless. They seem to not effectively move the ball in the direction that needed to be moved and save America. And so now that I'm there, I get a front row seat to that, and it's extremely frustrating. And so I was very frustrated that we were not able to force the Biden administration to secure the border. I felt like we had a lot of leverage points to do that. Those leverage points, all the way from increasing the debt ceiling to the leverage point we had with the when the budget was expiring, and then we had the supplemental for Ukraine. There was a lot of moments in this year where the Democratic Party wanted something just as bad as the Republicans, which what we wanted was to secure the border, and yet we failed every time. And I think the reason is that you've got a speaker you have a very thin majority, and he can't rely on all of us to stand united. And we have some people, unfortunately, that I would say the Uniparty is real. There are members. And the Uniparty is bipartisan. They're members of the Republican Party that care more about pleasing Washington, D.C. and the bureaucrats and the lobbyists than they do about saving America, and that's unfortunate.
Now, why do you think it is that the Democrat Party seems to never go against the grain? They're always unified, but the Republican Party is so split on issues such as what you're talking about.
The Democrats are all united because D.C. in what D.C. wants, right? So the D.C. wants bigger government. Democrats want bigger government. D.C. wants more control, to take away rights from the individuals, to increase taxes. All of those things, the Democrats are fully on board with. There's no dissent in that regard. Where it's difficult is if you are actually trying to go against the flow as Republicans. You're trying to go against the D.C., the power in D.C., that takes courage. It takes political courage, and it's a lot easier just to go the other direction and join the swamp.
Now, let's go back to the border for a minute. At this point, nobody denies that there's a massive problem there, but the question is, everyone seems to believe that it's going to get much worse, at least until November. Is there anything that can be done between now and then, or should we expect more of the same?
No. We gave up all leverage when we passed the supplemental bill. And, I honestly think it's going to get worse. I think there's nothing to stop Joe Biden and a lame duck after November from allowing hundreds of thousands of Palestinians to come into the United States under asylum. There's nothing to stop him from allowing Ukrainians to come across the border or come into the United States. There's nothing to stop him from completely opening the floodgates of illegal immigrants. We have no points of leverage against the president, and that's what's frustrating. So what you're seeing now is what appears to be unanimity in the Republican Party, and I think we all are united in that we want President Trump to win. But also, the reason why you're seeing unanimity is that we are at a point where the bills that we're passing right now are messaging bills, quote unquote messaging bills. In other words, they're not going to pass. They're going to, we've passed all of the quote unquote must pass bills, the ones that the Senate actually is going to take up, and we've given up all leverage on those. So every bill that we're working on right now is a bill that it looks really great. It's good red meat, but it's not going anywhere. And so we're going to keep passing those messaging bills for the campaign season. But what's frustrating for me is someone who didn't go up to there to pass messaging bills. I went up there to try to save America, and so folks like me are a little bit frustrated, but that's why you're seeing the party united.
Now let's focus on that unity message. So we saw what happened in 2020, and shortly after the election, you sort of saw who was really willing to fight and who was sort of just going to let it go and move on to the next election or to the next personal agenda. I think the election's going to be pretty crazy. How united do you think the party would be if there are post-election challenges and there's people challenging the result in certain areas? Do you think the party would be united in support of President Trump?
That's a hypothetical I hope doesn't happen, and I don't know how to answer that until we get to that point.
Gotcha, okay. Thank you for joining me today. Thank you so much.
It's
Appreciate
great
it.
to be here.
Yes,
Thank you.
Thank you. Great.